This video is made for adult collectors because I don't know why they decided to release the exclusive before the regular release, but here we are. So I thought these two were going to share parts when we first found out we were going to be getting a Seaspray. And they don't share any bits, nor do they share a majority of their engineering other than some engineering tropes between the two. But I still think this was built off of a partial budget on this, and I'll explain why later. But we won't find out till Mark gives his, little Instagram spiel, because he hasn't done that yet. But these two are very different from one another, and I like that. They keep doing the mini bots justice over and over again. I think somebody has a favorite at Hasbro. I really liked Brawn. I loved Gears. I thought 86B was fun. I thought Cosmos was all right. And now we have Seaspray releasing first as an exclusive because reasons, but it's a Walmart exclusive. There's going to be a lot. Like 4 at the Walmart this one was found at because they came out in a box like that. I doubt this will be hard to get, but I'm also sure that this will get a regular release with the Toon head later on down the line. Though I don't know if I'll buy it because I actually kind of like the toy head more. This is Seaspray from the Retro Walmart line, and this was bought at Walmart Canada. Here's the box, not sponsored. Thanks to my buddy Dan for finding this for me.
He landed standing up straight. That's kind of funny.
This thing looks pretty nice. I personally think the arms are a tiny bit too long, but the rest of the proportions look great. And the details, there are some nice vent details on the legs with like little bits of the chest picked out. That's not how you do words. I like the bits on the chest that are picked out in paint. There we go, leading to the all painted head. Yes, it is entirely painted. The yellow all over this toy, as far as I know, is Palm. I don't think there is an ounce of yellow ABS on him, so the head had to be painted because it's probably cast in like the blue or white or whatever. Thankfully, it doesn't rub on anything, so it won't chip like the Earthrise Seeker, but it is a bit odd. It makes me feel like this was going to be a partial of Cosmos or something, but they squeezed a new mold out of it. I don't know that for sure. We gotta wait till Mark does his inevitable little behind the scenes post on this. He shares no parts or like solid engineering with Cosmos other than some general tropes, but who knows? Well, Mark does, but we have to wait and see. I love how clean this guy is. Granted, that doesn't seem to be the hardest thing based on previous Seasprays. Even the Hunt for the Decepticons one was clean. The way they compress the feet is super cool, but if you want him to have more rounded feet and be a little taller, you can unfold everything underneath out to like give him that height and shape. I do like the head sculpt, the vents on the face, and the jet black visor. The shoulders are attached on this strut, and this strut doesn't tab in super securely. However, the joint is tight enough that it doesn't really matter. There is a stopper in there, it's just small. He comes with a gun, a nice silver painted gun that you can mount on the head bracket thing. The waist joint is weird, but let's talk about, actually I'll just talk about that in the articulation. So Seaspray's articulation is really good. The only thing that I think is really bad is the waist joint. So we'll get to that because I'm gonna have to talk about it. So the head is on a ball joint. It's really hard to get in there because of the shelf, but you do get some tilt, which is good. Not that much up, a little bit of down, and then you have rotation, but again, this just kind of gets in the way. The shoulders, they can do a full 360, they can go out all the way. You've got bicep rotation, you have over 90 degrees of elbow bend, and if you bicep rotate it out, you get even more elbow bend. The wrists do shift down and up. That's more for like fitting them into the alt mode, but do I have a sword here? I don't have a sword here, but you can like put a sword in his hand and tilt it down. That's kind of cool. We'll talk about the waist joint in a second. Hips can go forward, they can go back, more than they can go forward. They can go in and out. You have thigh rotation. You have over 90 degrees of bend at the knee, and it does click when you make it straight. I don't know why they do that, but they do that. And then the ankles can tilt a bit. And it's just because of all these hinges in here for like the transformation. They only go so far. So I do wish they could tilt more, but I understand why. Now the waist, if you look at the waist joint here, you see how it's squared off at the edges there and there? And then you have these white plastic parts for the front sort of hip skirt style look. So you can rotate the waist and everything is pretty fine. But as soon as you move this piece up, you see what that white part does? It's now up against this. And you can rotate it this way, but you can't rotate it the other way. Notice how it's pushing on that piece. On this side, it's a little bit better because the hole for the mushroom is there. So like you get a bit more range. But these white bits bump into the waist joint. So if I want to like, oh yeah, let's get him into like a cool sort of action pose here. That's as far as the waist is gonna go with the legs up like that. And like that doesn't look bad, but it is really annoying. That's my biggest complaint with this guy
if they didn't have these little white pieces here, I think the waist joint would have been better, because if you rotate this up, right, that orange piece still sits below the waist joint. It's just the white part. And I think if that white part wasn't there, this waist joint would be completely fine. But it's there. It blocks the waist. It's a little bit unfortunate. When he's standing up straight, you can do, like, I don't know, exorcism or whatever. But when the legs are forward, it becomes, it just kind of locks it in place. It's a bit annoying.
So other than that weird waist and the minor nitpicks, I really like this thing's robot mode, but the transformation, it's so neat. It does a lot you wouldn't expect, but also a couple of general things that Cosmos does. It's a lot of fun.
Get out of here, Cosmos. So, Seaspray's transformation in the legs is really interesting. In its upper torso, it's a bit clashy, but it's still fine. It doesn't share anything from the Titan's Return one other than, like, where the limbs kind of end up, but that's just general Seaspray. So, to start with, we will do the upper body first. So, what we're going to do is we're going to open this flap up right here, and we're going to take the arms, straighten them out, and then rotate them 180 degrees so that they line up with the biceps. That's not the forearm, that's the forearm. I know my anatomy. Then we want to take this entire top section here and just sort of bring it out. It's a little bit fiddly to get out, but there it goes. Oh, wait, no, before you do that, and I make this mistake all the time, rotate the head 180 degrees first. Because if you don't rotate the head 180 degrees first, you pull it out, and then there's physically no space to rotate the head, and then it sticks out in the robot mode. Then you want to bring this section up, and it's going to tab into the underside of this section here, and then this will come up, and this will peg into the back, like so. Get in. Then you want to take these side sections here, shift them down, they're on a double hinge, and then shift them down like that so they're at an angle, so that you have clearance to rotate this piece and then straighten them out. Now we can work on the legs, the most interesting part. So you open this flap up, fold this section out, and then fold this section out, and now you have a complete hover, like, cushion. What are these things called? Airbags or whatever? You have those. I love how that compresses. It's just boom, and then boom. And if you want it to go away, and there it goes away. Now you have a flat foot. That is such a cool piece of engineering. I love that. But you bring that up, and then you want to open this panel at the back here, fold this section out, open that panel. This piece is only on one side because it only needs to be on one side. But here now I can show you the ankle tilt a bit more. So remember how it bumps into this wall here, and it's because it has to house the hinge to do that. So it just doesn't work otherwise, so I'm fine with it. So you bring this section down like that. Then you want to rotate it around, peg the feet together. It will come undone because this peg kind of sucks. But then you want to bend, make sure these pieces don't fold. Bend the waist in and it will tab in to the torso. Then bring the hips out, bend it at the knee, bring the hips out more, and then the knees are actually going to clip into the top here. So you clip the knees in there, just make sure this is all straightened out. Fold these in and that will basically hold all of that together. This is going to split. The arms are what's going to hold this section together. So you bring the arms down, you want to open this panel up, shift the hinge all the way around, and then close this panel up. Then bring the arm out and it will just slot into place on the side there, just on both sides, and then just squeeze all that together. See, now it's holding together because the arms are in place. And then the gun can just peg into the side there. And there you have Seaspray in his alt mode, which I enjoy doing that back and forth. This part up here is a little bit fiddly, but like the rest of it, especially the front, I think is amazing.
That is a nice little pudgy hovercraft. I like this a lot. The head sticks out the back, which is a bit and I kind of wish there was a thing to cover it, but otherwise I have no complaints. There is a lot of empty space at the bottom because that's how everything tucks away in robot mode, so that doesn't bother me at all. Everything tabs together pretty well. Nothing feels like it wants to come apart, and then the gun can store in the same place as it did in the robot mode. It just fits in the palm of my hand. It's got a nice hand feel to it. I really like this thing. It's quickly becoming my favorite mini bot to mess with. I really wish that waist thing wasn't the way that it is. It's literally that white piece. If you remove that white piece, I'm pretty sure it would just work fine. That's my biggest issue. Otherwise, this thing is very fun and I do recommend it. It's neat. And I think it's coming in its own case. Again, the Walmart my buddy found this at had 4 Seasprays and no bronze. So I don't think this is going to be hard to find because he comes in a case of himself. But that's my look at Retro Seaspray from the Walmart line, or Age of the Prime Seaspray technically. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.